Let's start it off with the Adelaide Crows, who went for local talent predominantly.
Yeah, great to see. I love seeing clubs invest locally. We see Max Michelini there on the board, like he was always going to go. Probably forced their hand a little bit earlier than they'd hoped, the Crows, but backed up with Billy Dowling and obviously bombed there in the back end of the draft. Nice selection for the Crows. The
Brisbane Lions shifter, it was always going to be pretty easy for them to nail this one given the father-son prospects they had on offer.
What two beauties they've got there in Ashcroft and, of course, Fletcher, that the stars in national championships, midfielders that add to a depth they've already got in that particular area, but we'd expect that they can have an impact next year. Certainly Ashcroft is ready to run.
The Blues just missed the finals this year, but Michael Voss has got a really nice list at his disposal. This draft has added a bit of polish.
Yeah, I thought they were one of the winners of this year's draft. If you look at that list there, I mentioned those names earlier, and then they add Harry Lemmy at the end, who we spoke was so highly rated across the course of the last 12 months. Very, very handy get at pick 47.
Collingwood Football Club had Nick Dacos last year. We've spoken a lot about that shifter and the impact he's had. What about who they've picked up this time with Allen, the headline act?
Yeah, the son of Ben, of course, and a boy that we haven't seen a lot of, but we love his size, we love his absolute speed, so he's a star in that group. And Richards, one of the great stories of the draft, the boy that had been overlooked over a 5-year period, is going to become a pie.
Bombers fans will be delighted with their draft haul, with Elijah Sartas, one of the highly ranked players across the draft, and Hayes, a key defender, but the Davey boys are going to look awesome in red and black.
Yeah, a lot of discussion around that pick 5, wasn't there? But the boy out of Wesley College there, Elijah Sartas, they wanted their man, they got him. No doubt that they'll be very, very excited to see him in the black and red in 2023. And the Davey boys, what a story.
Fremantle, another premiership contender shifter, another team looking to add that extra polish, that extra finesse as they hunt down a premiership.
And I love the Max Noble. So not only are you hunting down the premiership, you're also getting ready for the long term. And so he's your big ruckman that'll work under their team, and the son of a gun too, with Trent having been a player at AFL level.
What about the reigning premiers who seem to nail draft night year in, year out? It feels fair that they should sit it out for a little bit, but no, they did awesome. And Jai Clark, the superstar replacement for Joel Selwood.
We seem to say it every year. We sound like a broken record. They have done it again, the Cats. Their draft and trade periods have been first class. Jai Clark comes into the footy club. What more can you ask for?
What about the Gold Coast Suns? Stuart Dew signing a new contract with the Suns, and they haven't been active players, but Humphrey was one of the big names going into this draft.
Yeah, and one of the stars of the NAB League. He was runner-up in the Morrish Medal, and that's on 10 or 11 games, so had missed that middle part of the year, but a real a game breaker, exceptional influencer in the way he plays the game in the midfield and up forward.
So the Suns were fairly quiet. The Giants were the busy bees of the two nights, taking Aaron Cadman with pick number 1, and they've had plenty of opportunity to make up for the players that they've been able to lose.
Yeah, another huge draft for GWS. Big players in this year's draft, and you look at the quality on the board there, and there's a whole mixture of needs, isn't there, in there, from some of the biggest in Aaron Cadman to the smallest in the Kalamunda kid, Darcy Jones.
What about the Hawks? We know Sam Mitchell's got to rejuvenate this list. They've lost a lot of experience. Do you like what they've picked up?
Yeah, I do, and I think we always seem to follow the players that get targeted, don't we? And we know they moved up in a hurry to get Josh Weddle, so Henry Huswaiter spoke about his character, and that first selection, Cam McKenzie, he's going to be a genuine star of the future, so look for him to have a huge impact early on at the Hawthorn Football Club.
Shifter, what about the Ds? We saw their picking last night over Jefferson, a key forward, so a bit of a project player there.
Well, I'll call that the bookends, the modern-day bookends, with Jefferson, the tall forward, and Adams, the tall defender. Reminds me of Roughhead and Franklin back in the day with Hawthorn. When they thought they were getting bookends, they both end up, of course, champion forwards. But, yeah, they're stocked up very well there.
The Kangaroos had a good early picks, but the headline will probably be Cooper Harvey, the son of the great Brent Harvey.
Yeah, certainly will, and we touched on Harry Sheasel and George Wardlaw, but Braden George, a player, like I said, don't forget about him. You won't see him much in the next 12 months, but keep your eye on him. And Cooper Harvey, couldn't be happier for him and the Harvey family. the tradition continues of one of the all-time great names in football.
Port Adelaide shifter not incredibly active over the 2 nights, but they will hope that the 3 players they've picked up can play lots of football.
Yeah, McCallum's ready to run, I think, the dashing defender. The other 2 boys are long-term prospects. Again, a tall forward and Scully, Marshall, the tall defender.
The Tigers probably did most of their work during the trade period. Not so much to do tonight.
No, but a couple of West Australians. So Sam Cousins, a mate of mine over there, he's a bit cheeky, didn't give too much away, but got another couple through the door, and guys that are raw but can come in and still play senior footy early, particularly Steely Green that's had that experience.
St Kilda under Ross Lyon looking to shape their list, and Filippo at 10 was perhaps the biggest star of the night to drift down there.
Yeah, that's a pretty good list for mine. The big defender in Van Ness as well, and Houghton, the midfielder, come forward. Some talent in that group of 4 for Ross Lyon.
Always fun and games, and the Sydney Swans are involved. What do you make of their progress?
They got the best poker faces in the country. That's what I make of the Swans. Constanti, look, we spoke about him. He adds that speed to the Sydney Swans lineup. Cooper Vickery there, he's that promising prospect that we spoke about through the Hawthorn NGA program. It's kicking. They've really highlighted the importance of that and targeted it in this year's draft.
Let's take a look at the West Coast Eagles and what they have done to add to their list. They've been able to take a range of players, which is important because they are a club that is looking to build.
They started with the homegrown boys and then end up going to SA for the developing ruckman. Love that. And then some 2 athletic boys out of Victoria there at the finish. So they've shopped right around the nation to get the best talent in. They look a great group.
And what did you make of the Western Bulldogs and their 2022 draft?
Well, we heard rumours around that Luke Beveridge was keen on a key defender, and they got the best in this year's draft in Jed Buslinger. So they've got what they wanted. They've addressed their need, and, geez, aren't their tall group exciting? We know what their midfield can do. The Bulldogs are on the move.
Mick Shifter, as always, you have been exceptional, the true stars of the draft, as always. There's not a player out there in the land that you two don't know. For a complete wrap on everything draft-related, head to foxfooty.com.au. They will have all of the fallout from tonight and also yesterday as the clubs look to build and shape their list.